What's up, beautiful people? I'm Erin and this is Erin On Demand. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I conduct my team meetings. So I have quite a few people, well, not that many. I have a pretty small team, but we do meet every other week and our meeting starts in 1 minute. So I'm going to share with you guys kind of how I conduct them and then give you some tips if you are building your team and want to have, very constructive and informative and productive team meetings. Hi.
Oh, yay. Exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome. I did want to start the meeting with a little announcement. So we want to take you guys on a retreat. We have been kind of in the background planning a weekend away for us because, for one, we haven't met in person yet, which I think is kind of cray-cray. And I think that we all deserve a little bit of time off. All right, so the team meeting is over and I want to give you a few tips to make your team meetings more productive, especially because this isn't something that I really knew how to run when I was first starting to have team meetings. I kind of just winged it. So let's get into it. First thing is what I host the meetings on. So my whole team is virtual. Most of them I have never met in person. So we're gonna change that soon because I just told them this meeting that we're gonna do a retreat, but we're all virtual. So we meet on my personal meeting room in Zoom, and then every time we have the meeting, we use that same link so that we're not sending out different links and getting all fumbled up. So that's how that goes. Now, the frequency, we do our team meetings every other week. So when I first started building my team, I didn't have team meetings at all. And it was kind of like everybody was everywhere. Like I was meeting with one, then I would meet with another, then I would meet with another, then I would meet with another. And then it became like I was always the liaison between everyone. So if my finance manager needed something from my assistant or vice versa, like everyone was coming through me to talk to everyone. And I'm like, this cannot happen. So I started conducting team meetings and I found that everything just flowed so much better because now there was camaraderie between everyone who was working together. So team meetings are very effective if you have multiple people on your team and you want them to also be connected so that if they need something from the other, they don't have to go through you. And it just helps everyone kind of keep a pulse on everything that's going on without wasting time meeting with everyone individually. So team meetings also cut down on the number of individual meetings that you need to have. So on the weeks that I have team meetings, I don't have any one-on-ones unless it's like a spur of the moment one-on-one where someone needs something. But I only have one-on-ones on the off weeks of our team meetings. And even sometimes then, like if we cover a lot of ground in the team meeting, I may not even need to have the one-on-ones or vice versa. So kind of keeping a pulse. My next tip is to not over meet. So if you feel as though like you only need to have one team meeting a month, do that. Like make the team meeting meaningful and then you don't have to keep having them. Or if you do want to touch base with your team and just kind of get in the habit of meeting, with your team, then don't make it long. It can be a 15-minute team meeting. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute or hour-long meeting. Okay, so now you know you need to start having team meetings. So let's move into how to actually structure the meetings. So typically our meetings last from 30 minutes to an hour, and usually I like to start with just like small talk. Just like, how was your weekend? Like, how's your daughter? How's your dog? Like, just kind of like small talk type stuff. And I also open up about things that I did over the weekend or for fun, because I just don't want all of our conversation to feel like it's just so business. But on the flip side of that, small talk can get annoying. So even if you don't like small talk, try to think about like specific things about your team members that you can ask them about. So if one of them is a newlywed, like ask them how that's going. Or if one is engaged, like I'll ask how that's going. So, thinking of ways to like actually deepen the relationship instead of constantly having like the same exact small talk every single time. So that's a good way to kind of break the ice and get everyone a bit warmed up for the meeting. And I like to spend maybe like 5 minutes on small talk and stuff like that. The next thing that I like to do is I always try to start the meetings on the positives. So if there are really good things going on or any positive news, I prefer to lead with that. Today in this meeting, I led with us treating them to a retreat, and they were so happy. And I think it's something that we all need, but this will be the first time we will all actually get to meet each other in person, which is pretty cool. So starting with the positives, I think it just sets the tone for the meeting to be fun and, you know, productive, but also just like you're moving the needle forward as a team. The next thing is to stay on topic. So typically, when we start the meetings, I will start with good news, and then I will lead into like more like hard updates. So if we want to go over course sales, or if we want to go over eBrand Club feedback, or if there are emails that need to be addressed, or if we have to troubleshoot something, then I start to get into those things. And I do like to write down a checklist of things to cover in the meeting. I usually do that in Notion, but I also keep track of everything that everyone says. So in the last meeting, I can bring up like, oh, did you follow up with this person? How did this go? And so there's continuity between each meeting because I'm keeping track of everything. So after I give my updates, I open the floor for everyone else to give their updates. And they usually do it in a similar way too. Like they'll give their positive updates and then kind of go more into the other things. I won't necessarily say negative, but just things that aren't as light and fun. So that's pretty much how it goes. So everyone gets a chance to have the floor, and then after that we move into like action points. So in today's meeting, we ended up planning all of Q2 for the eBrand Club. And one thing that I like to do is and that's something that we just started implementing, which is pretty cool. But one thing that I also like to do is if there's someone who I need more time with, I will let the other people on the team hop off the call. Like everyone doesn't need to be there for the entire thing. So sometimes the first 30 minutes or the first few minutes, everyone will be there, hear the updates, give their updates. And then if I need to go deeper with one person, instead of scheduling another one-on-one, we'll just extend the team meeting and let the others drop off. The key is not dragging the meeting out beyond what it needs to be, even if that means for other people, because you don't want your team to feel like this is a waste of time. So just make sure that for one, you stay on topic, give them a chance to speak and be heard, and then let people go when their time is over if you need to zero in on someone specific or something specific that doesn't pertain to the entire team. Another tip is if you do have a larger team, I would recommend having an agenda, because when there are more people, there are more opportunities to go off on a tangent or more opportunities to forget things. And even, you know, I could even start implementing this too, like just making sure we touch on certain things, because sometimes you do find yourself like going over the same things over and over and over again. So if there's something new you want to introduce to the team, just make sure you write it in the agenda. Or if you have a virtual assistant or an assistant who can create the meeting agendas based off of the last meeting, or if you want your assistant to take notes during the meeting, then those are things that you can also implement to just make sure you're staying on track, but also that each meeting kind of builds off of the next, and you're addressing everything in the company and not constantly going over the same things every single meeting. And then as for in between meetings, I think that that's like a really important part of making your meetings effective, is that in between meetings you have effective communication. So my team uses Slack. It is a team communication app, and we love it. So, you know, whenever there are updates, or sometimes we don't even have, when we don't have meetings, I'll just say, Slack me all of your updates, and I'll just go through everyone's updates, and it's simple and easy. So, you know, I would say have some sort of team communication app like trying to do it through Gmail or email or through texting, it can get really hairy and just everything can kind of start to become overwhelming because everything is everywhere. So if you use a platform like Slack, that is really helpful in between those meetings, so you can get updates and, you know, everyone can kind of be up to speed on everything. So those are my tips for having team meetings. It can sound a little bit like, oh my God, a team meeting, but the more you have them, the more you'll get used to it, and the more fun I think they'll become, because you're gonna start getting to know the people who work with you, and then they're gonna start getting to know each other as well. So I hope this was helpful. And I have a whole module in the Creator to CEO course about growing and scaling. We talk about onboarding, hiring, and I think that if you are in that growth phase, it would be extremely helpful for you to check out the Creator to CEO course, see if it's something that you are wanting to invest in, because it is for content creators who are ready to turn their content creation into their full-time business, start creating a team, start, you know, really amping it up in more of the business sense. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, maybe I'll do a video about how to decide who to hire, or even a video about who's on my team, because I know you may not really know. Sometimes we hear people talking about my team and you just kind of are like, well, who is that? Like, what kind of team do you have? So let me know if you want to see either of those two videos next, and I will see you later. Bye for now.